On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. And I just saw this headline: only 3.2% of Americans retire with $1 million saved. 3.2% after working a whole career. And they say, well, it's impossible to save $1 million. Let me show you some numbers here, folks. I think this may change your mind. I just want to show you, if you're just making a commitment, I just want to take somebody that's first starting out, can save $300 a month. And you say, well, $300 a month, that's too much. If you're making $60,000 a year, that's saving 6%. 6% going towards your future so you can have $1 million in the future. But not only that, if you could just increase that $300 a month. Well, first of all, let's run to that $300 a month. And you say, what are you talking about running it? That's what we do on this channel. We run numbers using the returns, actual historical returns to the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, which includes the Depression years. We project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They won't be exact, but they'll give us a similar return. Now, give us a possible range of what may happen in the future. Let's say you're 30, upper 20s, 30, maybe 32 or so, and you can save $300 a month. We could do any numbers you want, but let's just do $300. Where do you think you might be in 35 years? By the way, $300 a month, you would have put in $126,000 over that 35-year period. Sounds like a lot, but when you break it down by month, it's just $300 a month. And look what it can do for you if you're in it for the long term. Right now, I've got the numbers showing for the 1924 numbers. This is the actual graph. I want you to see. Remember, this is going through the Depression years. That's why it stayed so low for so long. But look where it ended up. It ended up after 35 years, $1.520 million, saving $300 a month. We say, well, that was 1924. Look at 1925 numbers, 1.574. Remember, this is going through the Depression years, folks. I can pick any year you want. So rather than just picking each one of these, I'd love to show the graphs, but rather than picking each one of these, I update this for every single year. And we're going to be looking at the 35-year column again. Again, somebody in their upper 20s to maybe 31, 32 that has 35 years until they reach full retirement, a full Social Security age of 67. Because that's what I want to run numbers for people. I want to get that 3.2% to be a lot higher. Look at this, folks. Even in the worst case scenario over a 35-year period, you'd have 870,000. Not quite a million, but that's so rare. That's like 2% of the time you'd have less than $1 million. Let me show you the actual breakdown. Again, we're looking at the 35-year column, and this is for the last 100 years, all the 35-year returns. And in this whole column, the worst case scenario, you'd have 870,000. This is the actual breakdown for the 35-year column. Look at this. $300 a month, 82% of the time you would have had $1 million if you had returns like the last 100 years. 39% of the time you'd have 1.5%, color coded in blue. And there's actually 9% of the time you'd actually have $2 million. Folks, this is saving $300 a month, which is 6% of somebody making 60,000. 300,000 or $300 a month to have this kind of money when you go to retire. I always take account of inflation up here in these boxes. I've explained this before, that if using a 3% inflation rate, what buying power these numbers would have. It wouldn't have near the buying power. But we want to get people to $1 million, even if that $1 million doesn't have quite the buying power, since only 3.2% of the people get there. I want to do one more thing here, just show you the importance of just adding just a little bit more each year. If we're running $300 a month, and again, look at these graphs. It just shoots straight up. No matter what year I pick, it does that. But I want to increase this by 3% a year. I want you to notice what happens to all these numbers. Specifically, looking at the 1924 numbers right now, it's 1.520 million. If you add 3%, and the returns were going forward like 1924 numbers, look what it changed from. 1.520, adding just 300 or 3%. In other words, you add $300 a month, 309, so on, because you're going to get raises. Look, it raised it to 2.133 million. Again, what was it? 1.5. Just that 3% a year which you wouldn't even notice it because you're already used to doing 300 and just increase that by just a little bit. And each year you just increase it by a little bit more. I want to update this and show you now instead of putting in 126,000 because that 3% does add up. You're putting in 217,000, but I guarantee it's going to be more than $1 million, even in the worst case scenario. Let's actually run the numbers now for every single year. We're going to see these numbers change big time right here too. How many times do you get to $1 million? That 82 is going to change to 100%. See, 100%. Look at how many are gold now. 39% gets you to $2 million. That's just $300 a month, increasing that by 3% a year, looking forward to what you may have in 35 years, just using the returns for the last 100 years, every single scenario. Again, we don't know what the next 35 years are going to hold. We don't know whether there's going to be some bad decades, a bunch of good decades, everything in between. But here's the actual range, folks, from a 1.116 million in the worst case scenario up to 3.759, with a median in this column being 1.669. And again, 100% of the time you get to $1 million, which is $300 a month. Can you imagine if you already had some saved up? Let's just do one more thing, just to show you what we do on this channel. Say you're 30 years old and you have 10,000 already saved up. Now I'm going to run the numbers, and it's going to be even more mind-boggling. If you already have something saved up, $10,000, using the same scenario, the minimum was 1.116 million. Look at what the difference that 10,000 makes. Bear with me while I recalculate. 1.4 million with the median now being $2 million. Same scenario, $300 a month, increasing that by 3% a year. But if you already have 10,000 saved up, again, look at these graphs, folks. Just no matter what year I pick, it just shoots up. If you have the 35 years, it may take a while to start really going up, to start climbing this mountain. But man, no matter what year I pick, look at this. It just gets up there. Starts out slow. That's what's called compounding. Let it work for you. Get it in there early. $300 a month. I can run any numbers for you. Again, if you want me to run numbers for you, just give me your beginning balance, your monthly contribution, and whether you want to increase that. We saw that. We just ran $300 a month, and we ran increasing that by 3% a year. And when you can do it for 35, 40, or 45 years, you start in your 20s, you can have mind-boggling amounts. Please consider subscribing to this channel, sharing, liking these videos. Let other people know. I want to stop this 3.2% at retirement. Only that amount of people having $1 million at retirement. Thanks for watching.